want to live in this world where you can apparently summon food and water out of thin air just by using a card. Why don't you come join me on this adventure with Kartia, the Word of Fate. Kartia, the Word of Fate is a tactical role-playing game developed and published by Atlas for the PlayStation in Japan and North America in 1998 and later for Europe in 1999, and even ended up in Japan's PlayStation Network in 2011. This game was suggested by Diamond Wolf 65, and with the suggestion comes an adventure I'm sure they want to hear about. So let's dive in further into this world of phantoms and trust in the heart of the cards.
Kartia, the card which can create anything. People have lived with Kartia since the beginning of time. The divine lineage released the power of Kartia. Kartia fire lights up the dark. Kartia winds flow through the sea. Kartia earth laid over a bed of seeds. Kartia water nurtures the plants. Thus people call this world roots. It was the world of Kartia civilization. For thousands of years, this world never knew of war. It was a world of peace and security, but those beautiful days began to corrupt the people. Chaos crept into the world. When people took the power of Kartia for granted, the destruction of Rebus began. This is the story of two individuals who lived in this chaotic era. Toxa, the free knight, nothing kept him from pursuing his dreams. Lacrima, the shrine warrior, her father was a hero. She led a life bound by law. Whoever happens to witness this epic drama will experience all the joys and sorrows that affect their lives.
The story follows two separate heroes in two separate volumes. Volume 1 is about Toxa Classico, and Volume 2 follows Lacrima Christi. Not only do you get two stories told from two entirely different perspectives, but they're both 18 chapters each for a total of 36 chapters of gameplay. With that said, Kartia will run you about 35 to 41 hours to beat, which sounds pretty good to me when you've got a game made by a team that has worked on the Final Fantasy series, Persona, and Soul Hackers. The game seems to be a fun adventure, but let's see if he truly looks the part as well. The graphics for Kartia are nice when it comes to the pixel art, but the game's artwork truly shines when it comes to the character portraits, which really show you the Final Fantasy influence this game has. The artwork is reminiscent of the works of Yoshitaka Amano, which isn't surprising at all, considering that's the exact person who's done the art for this game as well. Kind of awesome when you think about it. Atlas and Square both got Yoshitaka to do art for their games, and both companies end up with a beautiful product because of it. Aside from the beautiful artwork, you'll find some landscapes that look pretty interesting and make exploring and fighting in those areas a bit more enjoyable as you progress in your journey. Kartia looks to be a beautiful game, and it also sounds like it'll be a good one too. The music for Kartia is a pleasure to listen to. I honestly love how much fun the game is when you listen to some of these tracks. Just like the artwork, you'll get a Final Fantasy vibe from listening to these tunes. And of course, you know we have to go through my favorite types of music the game offers, from its calming tunes to its more intense combat music. Not much else to talk about since there's no voice acting in this game. I feel Kartia's soundtrack really does lend to the overall fantasy aesthetic these JRPGs give off, and I just know the gameplay will be enough to make this a complete package. Kartia, The Word of Fate is by all means not your typical tactical role-playing game. Kartia has a few differences that really set it apart from other tactical RPGs I've ever played. One key difference is the realistic approach this game takes when it comes to human characters versus the phantoms they can summon. In this game, you use cards known as Kartia to summon things written on those cards, from fire to even drinking water. You also have characters that have the ability to summon humanoid creatures known as phantoms, who you'll be spending most of your game controlling, as they will be your human shields. You cannot afford to die in combat in this game, or any of your human combatants, otherwise the game ends and the chapter you play will have to be restarted. You heard me correct. For this game, just like any other human, you are fragile, and your death means the end of all things. Summon your phantoms to build a strong barrier between you and the enemy and let loose your skills. With Kartia and phantoms in this game also comes the maintenance that they require. You'll use resources when it comes to Kartia, and at the same time you can combine cards to create more powerful spells and phantoms. Be wary of your supply stash and be as strategic as you can while managing your supplies, cards, and phantoms, and let's see if we can get through this together. As expected, the gameplay does not disappoint, and actually brings some odd and interesting things to the table. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. Kartia, The Word of Fate is such a cool and interesting tactical role-playing game that's charmed its way into my heart, but at the same time surprised me that it's such an obscure gem that I've never heard of if it wasn't for Diamond Wolf 65. I truly hope in the future Square and Atlas team up and bring this game back in a remake or a spiritual successor with the same interesting themes this game holds. Thank you guys for another fantastic episode of UnderRadar, and I'll see you on the next one.